Thank you very much, and it is wonderful to be here with you again. I see so many familiar faces in the audience. I just want to stop and speak to every single one of you. If you had a receiving line, if I had time, because that's what I like to do. But I'm afraid that today I'd just be able to speak to some of you as I go out up and down the aisles, but know that I care for every one of you. You've meant so much to Jimmy and to me over the years, and you're the reason that Jimmy Carter is president today, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I'm very sorry that Jimmy has to stay in Washington because he really wanted to be here. He's very envious of me. I've been coming to Florida and seeing you all, and he, as much as I must feel that we must be out with people. He feels that he must, I feel that I must. We stay in Washington too long sometimes, and when we go out and see our friends and supporters, we come back feeling refreshed and ready to start all over again. That's the way you make us feel. And so he wanted me to tell you how sorry he was that he could not be here with you. This is a very tense time for him, as it is for all of us. Jimmy has said that these past 2 weeks have been the most trying of his presidency. Indeed, they've been two of the most trying weeks in the history of our country. Terrorists, half a world away, are holding American men and women hostage, supported by the host government. It is an outrage, totally outside the bounds of international law. And for the whole world to see. Also for the world to see is this nation and our president acting with calmness, with courage, and with measured action. Every American feels anger at what is happening, and every American feels concern for the safety and pride for the great courage of those who are being held. But I am proud that this situation has brought forth calm leadership by officials and by private citizens throughout our country. We are pursuing all avenues of diplomatic resolution, and we are also taking action as appropriate, with restraint, yes, but without hesitation. We, of course, welcome the announcement today that some of the hostages will be released and will soon be able to rejoin their families. But we cannot forget that other hostages, our fellow Americans, are still being held. Our goal must be the safe release of every single one of them. The President needs the solid support of every American. Those in authority in Iran must understand that the American people hold them accountable for the safety of our fellow citizens. The President of the United States cannot always publicly explain every reason for every action in the midst of crisis. But this president has shown over and over again that he has the courage to do what is right and what is in the best interest of our country, even though it may not be the most politically expedient thing to do. I think he has earned your trust and your support. Will you give him that support? Thank you. I was told that my speech today was not supposed to be the inspirational, thematic type of speech, but that you wanted a substantive speech about issues and about what is being done to meet the needs of the people of our country. But it's inspirational to hear the accomplishments of the Carter administration. In the short time that Jimmy has been president, he has compiled a solid record of achievement. On issue after issue, he has provided leadership. And he has been able, working with Congress, to pass more than 80% of all the legislation he has put forward and worked for. And he has talked sense to the American people. He has faced up to the tough issues and set our country on a true course again. Look at the record. We put our people back to work. You just heard Jimmy say that we've created 8.5 million new jobs, 5 million of those for women. We have the highest percentage of our workforce employed in our nation's history. The president's job record is in the great tradition of the Democratic Party. Democrats like Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, John Kennedy, Lyndon Johnson, and Hubert Humphrey would have been proud, and we have every right to be proud too. Jimmy is working on energy, as you just heard him say on the screen. The money for the massive undertaking to free our nation from dependence on foreign oil will come from a windfall profits tax on the unearned profits of the oil companies. As a matter of fairness and justice, the companies which reap the windfall benefits of our oil dependence should help to end that dependence. Jimmy Carter is also confronting the burden of inflation that's been with our people for 12 years. He recently signed and enlisted labor and business as partners with the government in the National Labor Accord that you also just heard about on the screen. He's reorganizing the government, 7 departments already, making government more competent. He's reformed the civil service system, cutting red tape and paperwork, being prudent in spending, working on reducing the federal deficit, as he said, from $66 billion, which was a Republican deficit, down now to $27 billion. And at the same time, on those things that are important to you and to me as Democrats, the record is impressive. He's increased federal aid to education by 60%, established the Department of Education, doubled the size of jobs programs and youth unemployment programs, helped save the Social Security program, expanded aid to cities, public transportation, housing programs, farm programs, and many others. He has made sure that the poor and the elderly do not suffer from fiscal restraint. He is the first president in history to send a national health insurance plan to Congress. I am proud of him. I am proud that he stood up for minority rights, for the ERA, for people to keep their jobs after reaching 65. For the right to privacy, for the right to a safe workplace, for the rights of the handicapped, for the rights of labor. And he has restored honesty and integrity to government. And there's something else he has worked for in these past 34 months. It is peace. We are at peace, and we have worked for peace for others. When Jimmy took office, the Middle East threatened to trigger a world war. Today, after 30 long years of warfare, Israel and Egypt are at peace. They are working They're working together because of the United States, and we would not have thought that possible 3 years ago. In Africa, for the first time in history, the United States stands on the side of justice, for majority rule, for democracy, against apartheid. And we are moving to control the nuclear arms race. The SALT II Treaty is so important. It will help control nuclear weapons, enhance our nation's security, and promote world peace. I ask you now for your support in our efforts to get this treaty ratified. We need your help. Contact your senators. It's important, and this is something that we must do for our country. For 3 years, Jimmy Carter has talked sense to the American people. People have heard something that had long been lacking from our nation's leadership, the truth. Jimmy Carter has told the people of our country the truth. And to succeed in the 1980s, we need more, not less, of the hard truth. The days of The days of 30-cent a gallon gasoline are gone. So are the days of free and easy government deficits. The times are gone when our country could spend itself out of every problem. We must continue to face up to the issues of the day. If we follow the path of easy promises that leads to inaction and more neglect, we will miss the great opportunity that we have today and in the next few years to lay the basis for a more prosperous and more just society. But with calm, strong, effective leadership, with a strong, effective government, with an economy expanding again, with inflation and energy shortages behind us, with people believing again, we can set our course for the future that we have all dreamed about. We must never underestimate the goodness of the American people. We must never underestimate our ability to meet any challenge, to overcome any crisis. Every important victory that this country has ever won, with Americans struggling together, has made us stronger as a nation. We have a wonderful country. We have wonderful people. Together, joining together and working together, we can move forward into the 1980s with a spirit of pride and patriotism and confidence in the future and make our country even greater than it already is. Thank you very much.